Hi, I'm Steve Adubato. I can get that in. Hi, I'm Steve Adubato. Welcome to the Tisch WNET studio here in the heart of Manhattan. Let me introduce a gentleman who is no stranger at all to the PBS audience. He is Sreenivasan, who is the anchor of the PBS NewsHour Weekend and also senior correspondent, PBS NewsHour. How are you doing?
Good.
You know, at PBS, we're taught to say our names.
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time.
Slowly at first, and then you can pick up speed.
You love what you do.
I do.
Because?
It's a license to stay curious. I mean, you can go talk to, captains of industry, people in power and political offices. You can talk to homeless people. You can talk to activists, all in the same day. If you're not a curious person, don't go into journalism because it's not there for the fame. It's not there for the money. It's just, you just got to want to learn things. So sometimes I get to talk to fascinating scientists and, I say, well, tell it to me so that I can tell it to somebody else, So they start to speak in normal speak and not science speak. But in the process, I pick something up.
And the NewsHour, for those because you're public broadcasting, you know the NewsHour, the culture of the NewsHour during the week, and then let's talk about the weekends, which is fabulous on the weekends. Great during the week, but I'm so excited that we have this energy on the weekends as well.
Yeah, we're the NewsHour, at least for the last 35, 40 years, has been the only place on television where you can find intelligent, informed people disagree agreeably about matters that matter night after night. So we're going to miss the Justin Bieber story completely, but that's intentional.
On purpose?
On purpose, right? We're going to miss a lot of sort of...
Lindsay Lohan, go somewhere else.
Sorry. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know. I'm not a news snob. I just think that the E! Channel does a great job with that. So let them, right? If you want to find out the latest on Tiger Woods, watch ESPN, watch the Golf Channel. We might not be the place that you find that information from, but hopefully if you watch us for a week, just like if you listen to NPR for a week, you get a little smarter. You say, here's what's going on in the world. Here's why it matters to me. And so now to do that on the weekends was kind of a natural transition. I mean, because the news doesn't stop on Friday night at 5 o'clock when the news editors and everybody else goes home, right? So there have been events in Ukraine, in Syria, and we've been following that. Or, there might be things that happen in China. There might be things happen all over the world, but also here in the United States. And we should cover that with the same kind of objectivity, or at least the fair-mindedness that we have been for years.
Tell us about your background.
So I came to the United States when I was a kid, probably about 7 or 8, and every summer they'd ship me back to India. It was a lot easier flying to India back then because my parents would literally walk up to the gate, find some other Indian people that looked like they were on the same plane. Hey, can you watch my kid? Right?
Are you serious?
Yeah, totally. Pre-9/11, you could do that, right? So, and I would get back and forth there, and then the turn happened somewhere when I was a teenager, and then somebody comes up to me with their grandmother and say, hey, can you watch her and make sure she catches the right flight in Frankfurt, right? So I've been kind of bicultural, and then I bounced around for work a lot. So I was in the Pacific Northwest. We immigrated to Seattle, but then after that I worked in Yakima, Washington, Raleigh, North Carolina, San Francisco, was in New York once, then went to Dallas for CBS, and went back to New York, and then to DC, and now I'm back in New York. So you see this New York theme coming back and forth.
The PBS piece for you, though, because you know commercial television very well. Biggest difference for you between PBS, our world of public broadcasting, and the world you knew before?
It's just that we have time. We have the luxury of time. I mean, I worked down the street from the Tisch studios here, and I still have friends at ABC News, and I've worked at CBS News, and I'd be lucky to get 90 seconds, maybe 2 minutes if I could really twist an arm. At the NewsHour, most of our stories start around 6 minutes. So that's, to the networks, that's a mini doc, right? That's something you get commissioned to do. So we have that luxury of time to try and help our audience understand in a way where we're not rushing our guests. We're saying, you know what, go ahead and finish your answer. Go ahead and finish your thought, because it's not just about us getting the soundbite to make the evening news tonight. So that's a very big difference. And I think also, at this point, we're one of the last places, just recently there were the news Emmys, news and documentary Emmys. PBS won more than any other network, but you should have seen all the competition was 60 Minutes pieces, 60 Minutes pieces, more 60 Minutes pieces. But when you combine Independent Lens, POV, right. I think Frontline took home 4, Need to Know, which was a show out of here, took home 1, right? I mean, it's amazing because, and every single one of those people, when they got on stage, and we didn't pay them to do this, they just said, PBS is a place that still can take these risks, and we still have the luxury of time, and it was fantastic to see.
The digital world is something you know very well. The other role you play, talk about the digital role that you play over at the NewsHour.
So I've been the director of digital partnerships, which kind of makes me a little bit of a trend spotter and trying to look at what kinds of tools are out there that can help us tell stories and help us get those stories into the hands of people who used to be our audience, but now can be our champions. right? So I think that we have a very big challenge in the coming years to make sure that our content, if we've taken all this time and energy to make something wonderful or beautiful or something we're proud of, well, how do we get it into the hands of people and how do they consume it? In this day and age, you can see people walking down the street looking at their cell phones, or they're on the subway and they're looking at a tablet. I mean, they're taking it where they want it and when they want it. So we have to be better about distributing our content, and then we also have to be better about figuring out, how do I get this into the conversation that's already happening, where this is relevant, where it's not spam. I'm not just trying to say, hey, I did this story, but there are
Hey, look at me.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is not compelling.
No.
But rather instead of, hey, look at me, what is compelling?
You're already interested in this. Here's something about this that you might not have known, right? So where there's the conversation happening, whether it's in a Facebook group or whether it's on Reddit, whether it's on Twitter, if there are people opting into following a conversation, maybe this is the right place for that. And then let them run with the ball and let them share it with their family and their friends. And frankly, over time, that's going to add up to a lot of views, if that's what you care about, but it's also going to help build a community. And that's something that
Build a community.
Yeah, and that's something I think that public broadcasting has been doing for a long time. And you see all of these network TV shows, they're trying to build community now, right? So why is the hashtags on Scandal, why is that so important? I mean, ABC recognizes that there's very few reasons that you ever have to come and watch live TV anymore. And that's a very scary proposition for people who make content and say, okay, General Motors.
Because of advertising?
Exactly. They want to be able to say to General Motors or to whomever, General Mills, say, I can deliver you X million eyeballs at 7 p.m. on Tuesday night. Well, if everybody's getting it on their phones and their iPads whenever they want it, maybe those advertisers wouldn't pay the same kind of money.
But Hari, let me ask you this. Maybe this is dangerous to say this in public broadcasting, but I'll say it anyway. For those of us who are involved in public broadcasting and also have to be involved not just on the broadcasting side, the journalistic side, but are involved in bringing in the dollars from the foundations and corporations, is that the same challenge for us? While we are not interested in ratings per se,
right,
because there are so many other platforms for people to see us, isn't that a challenge for us because we're telling corporations and foundations, hey, this is our audience, but our audience is being bifurcated?
Yeah, our audience is being sliced in 100 different ways. And I think that, again, it's the goal, it depends on what you're sort of selling to the foundation, so to speak, or the underwriter or whomever it is.
We're not selling ratings.
Exactly. They're not. What maybe the conversation is about is the material that you're interested in and we're interested in impactful in the community, right? Is there a reason that people are talking about this and thinking about this, and can we maybe prove that in a way that the commercial networks aren't interested?
No matter how or where and how people get it, right?
Exactly, exactly. So it doesn't necessarily, our value proposition doesn't need to be, I mean, I work on a broadcast program, right? I'm very happy to have any broadcast viewer tuned in at 6 o'clock at night. No disrespect, I'm glad you're there. That said, how do I reach all of the other people that I couldn't get to at 6 o'clock at night because they were coming home from work, or that's just not how their schedule works? And if I get my story or that story into their, I don't know, their Facebook feed the next morning, right? I mean, for example, obviously very commercial product, but Jon Stewart, I don't watch him at 11 o'clock at night. It's usually when something's really funny that happened the next day, right? It finds me. It is forwarded to me, it's whatever, right?
Someone said to me the other day, oh, did you hear about Stephen Colbert making fun of Bill O'Reilly? And I missed it on the show, but all I did was take out my iPad, clicked Colbert making fun of O'Reilly, then O'Reilly saying something back,
right?
And I didn't see it when it happened. I saw it when I wanted to see it.
And there's a generation of people coming up who don't get must-see TV. Remember that whole idea of
Thursday night.
Yeah, Thursday night.
Seinfeld.
Well, that's right. That's right. That's a generational gap. Because NBC knew that it could put anything it wanted between Seinfeld and ER, and it'd be a hit. And then they had Frasier, and they took Frasier out, and they made that the anchor on Tuesdays. Right. But there's a group of people coming through college going, why?
Well, even though it's not must-see TV, can we let people know when they must see you?
Oh, my gosh. So it depends on which markets, wherever, but it's both on WLIW and 13 on the weekends. So Saturday and Sundays, I anchor the show, and then obviously all during the week.
Come on, how about NJTV?
NJTV as well.
Come on, we're on Jersey side. Come on!
LIW, NJTV, and 13. I forget all three brands sometimes.
Listen, Hari, I want to thank you and appreciate the work that you and your colleagues do every day of the week that make all of us look terrific in public broadcasting. Thanks so much.
Hey,
Keep it
thanks
up.
so much for having me.
You got it. Stay with us from the Tisch WNET studio here in the heart of Manhattan. We'll be right back right after this. I'm Steve Adubato. See how I got that out?
Perfect.
Right back.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. This special edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Tisch WNET studios at Lincoln Center. Funding has been provided by Meridian Health, Felician College, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, Cone Resnick, Investors Bank, the New Jersey Education Association, and by the Ohlendorf Center. Promotional support provided by NJ Biz, All Business, All New Jersey, and by the New Jersey Business and Industry Association and its monthly magazine, New Jersey Business. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.